Yeah, I thought I could do the whole fat girl thing, but after seeing her naked, I don't think anybody could love all that.
Richard burst out laughing with the men at the bar. They must not have seen me standing just 6 feet behind them, or else they wouldn't have been laughing at me. But now I knew the truth. Earlier that day, in some kind of freak accident, Richard had walked in on me naked. And I realized that this is why he hadn't returned any of my texts since this afternoon, and why his warmth had grown cold. Now I knew the truth. My hair was done up. I had a brand new shade of lipstick on. And I was wearing the only little black dress that still made me feel pretty. I felt like a total fool. My body seized up. My face got hot like it was 150 degrees. All I wanted to do at that moment was disappear. And Richard must have felt me staring at him through my tear-soaked eyes because he whipped that chair around to see me there. Kelsey, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I didn't even give him time to finish. I was gone. I ran out of the bar, down the hallway of the hotel, out the double doors of the lobby. I didn't even know where I was going. I just wanted to get away. And then finally, I ran into this flower garden outside the hotel where I crashed onto one of the benches. And I just put my head into my hands and it just started sobbing. I've been through a lot of pain in my life. But that moment hurt me in a deep way. Because it was the first time that I ever felt completely unlovable. And then I heard a pair of footsteps approaching and I tried to wipe my eyes. Please don't come over here, I thought. But the footsteps, they just kept coming closer until they stopped right in front of me. And as I looked up into the face of the person standing there, I had no idea that my life was just moments away from changing forever. I know it sounds almost unbelievable, but over the next few weeks, I would go on to lose over 18 pounds of stubborn fat without even trying. And all of that because of a chance meeting in the flower garden. That ugly fat that clings to my belly, it just evaporated. The jiggly sacks of fat that hang all over my arms, it just disappeared. And the spongy cellulite on my thighs, it vanished. And it all happened without me having to do any new exercise routines or start any drastic new diets. For the first time in years, I could look in the mirror and I could see toned feminine curves. And I didn't feel like a big dumpling when I put my clothes on. My energy skyrocketed. My cravings just went away. And even my hair, my skin, my nails, they got so shiny that it looked like I had grown 10 years younger. Every single aspect of my health changed from top to bottom. And the rest of my life changed right along with it. My career, my family, my relationships, my friendships. I can't think of a single aspect of my life that wasn't changed from that chance encounter with a man at the hotel. For the first time, I felt like I was the star of my own life, not just a supporting role. I felt like I was more than just a fat girl who was destined to be the butt of every joke and whose sole purpose was just to make her skinny friends feel good about themselves. Even as I tell you this, I can't help but feel emotional because although my life is so different now, I remember what it's like. I remember what it's like to be fat in a world designed for skinny people. I remember all those dirty looks and the feeling of being constantly judged and the ridiculous way everybody thought they knew everything about me because of my weight. When in reality, they didn't know a damn thing. But like I said, that life is entirely in the past because what I discovered that night, it didn't just change my life. It enabled me to change the lives of my friends, my family members, countless men and women who've used it for themselves. And if you let it, this very same secret, it can change your life too, starting today. I know that everything I'm saying right now just sounds unbelievable. I get it. I mean, I live this story and it feels unbelievable at times, but it's 100% true. I'm a real woman from Tulsa, Oklahoma, with 2 beautiful kids, ages 10 and 13. And the events that took place on the Izu Peninsula of Japan in 2019, the transformation stories I've witnessed firsthand, they're all true. And in a moment, I'll share even more incredible real-life transformations. But right now, I just want to explain in vivid detail every aspect of the secret I discovered that night in the flower garden. Because while very few people know about it, it's actually rooted in the research of a famous Japanese Nobel Prize-winning scientist. He was the first to discover a hidden resurrection system buried in nearly every cell of our body, a system that makes losing stubborn, nagging fat easy. All it takes to activate is just 1 minute a day. So please pay close attention, turn off all your distractions and get comfortable because I am going to take careful pains to spell out all the research that supports everything I'm saying. And I promise you, what I'm about to tell you is something you've never heard before. It's not a new fad diet, exercise routine, or magic pill. It's not some powder, probiotic, weird exercise device, or some DVD, or anything like that. You could call it the missing piece of the weight loss puzzle, because it targets the real forgotten cause of weight gain. But the reality is that it goes so much deeper than all that. Because when you activate this hidden resurrection system inside each of your cells, you impact nearly every function and organ in your body, supporting healthy blood pressure, healthy blood sugar levels, better mental focus, and so much more. Like I said, it's so simple that it takes less than a minute a day to use. And frankly, it's so powerful that you could stuff your face with chocolate cakes, creamy pastas, and hot pizzas every day and still lose weight. If I could use it to see results, I guarantee that you can too. Because I don't think that there's anybody who struggled as much as me when it comes to losing weight. Now you're just moments away from a truth about weight loss that's so powerful that it could very well change everything for you. Not only allowing you to melt pounds of nagging fat, electrify your metabolism, and crush those debilitating late-night cravings, but also giving you the confidence and strength of someone who's 10 years younger. Just wait until you feel your cells renew themselves from the inside out and feel your organs become revitalized and return to their natural function. I know you might still feel a little skeptical, especially if you've heard all the other BS claims before. Maybe you're wondering to yourself, is this really true? Will this really work for me? If so, I totally get it. But right now, all I ask is that you put those doubts to the side until you see everything I'm about to tell you, including the 82 scientific studies that support what I'm saying. And then decide for yourself if what I'm saying is true. But please make sure that you listen to every word of this video while you still can, because this could be your only chance to hear what I'm about to share. What I'm sharing inside threatens to flip everything we thought we knew about the human body directly on its head. And it threatens the billion-dollar weight loss and pharmaceutical industries. Because if you can reactivate your body's natural resurrection system, it allows you to live a long, healthy life. So I'm not saying this page is going to be removed from the internet or that something will happen to me, but with hundreds of billions of dollars at stake, there's no telling what the powers to be will do. So please watch this short video while you still can. Just like I was in that garden that fateful night, you're now on the cusp of an entirely new life. Can you imagine it? Fitting into your old clothes again, loving what you see in the mirror, feeling sexy and confident. Can you actually feel it? To no longer worry about the ravages of disease, aging, and illness. To know the secret to radical longevity and health. To look, move, and feel like you're 10 years younger. And most importantly, are you ready to find out what this secret is? I hope so, because we're getting started now. First, let me tell you how I ended up in Japan. Like I said, my name's Kelsey Myers. I was born and raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I'm the mother to two beautiful children, ages 10 and 13. I don't have any sort of medical degree or fitness certification, but what I do have is my personal story of transformation, as well as the remarkable transformations I've been able to help countless men and women achieve over the last few years. Melting as much as 42 pounds of stubborn fat in weeks, skyrocketing energy levels, killing those nagging late night cravings, looking 10 years younger, and so much more. Before all of this, however, I was just Kelsey from Tulsa. I worked as a secretary at a research lab and spent the majority of time working and taking care of my kids. I hadn't even been out of the country in about 7 years, so I never expected to book a 21-hour plane ride to Japan for 2 weeks. But when one of my girlfriends invited me on an all-expense-covered trip to Japan with her husband, and a large group of their friends, I had to join them. My kids would already be with my parents, and frankly, I needed the break. Besides, I'm pretty sure Richard is going to be there too, my girlfriend said. Richard was a friend of her husband that she had been trying to set me up with for years. He was tall, handsome, and always tan from his work as a contractor in the city. We had flirted a little in the past, but never let it go beyond that. But for the first time, I let myself imagine the possibilities. See, my husband died nearly 11 years ago, and I was as fiercely devoted to him as he was to me. And while that story is important, it's not really what I want to talk to you about. But it does, however, explain why I hadn't been on a date for over a decade. And to be honest, I thought I never would. But my sister-in-law had visited me recently for the sole purpose of convincing me that it was time to move on. It's what he would have wanted, she said. So I had finally opened myself back up to the idea of romance again. And to be honest, the thought of spending a few weeks with Richard intrigued me. I know I had put on a lot of weight over the years, about 67 pounds to be exact, but I still thought I had it. Besides, Richard isn't one of those shallow types, I thought to myself. Little did I know how wrong I was. The first couple of days of the trip were pure magic. We stayed in a 5-star resort right on the beach with views of Mount Fuji. The resort itself was mesmerizing, the staff incredible. We visited hot springs and temples. We sampled all the local delicacies, but by far the best part of the trip was Richard. He was the first man in 10 years that gave me butterflies in my stomach. And when we talked, it felt like he actually saw me and not just my body, which was so refreshing. I don't know if you can relate to any of this, but I always felt like my fat was the first and only thing that people noticed about me. So Richard finally made me feel appreciated for my personality, for my sense of humor, and for everything else I had to offer the world. And it felt good until the day it all came crashing down. Richard and I had made plans to visit the spa and get a massage together. It wasn't technically a couple's massage, since we'd be separated by a silk screen that divided the room, but still there was something sensual about the thought of the two of us lying there together. I made it to the spa before Richard, and he texted me, "Running late, be there soon. Okay, slowpoke, see you here." I texted back. I went to my side of the room and began to undress. There was a large mirror hanging on the wall. Normally I'd avoid looking at it, but this time I undressed right in front of it. I saw the creases on my neck and chin, big flabs of fat that would flop over my waistline, huge thunder thighs pressed against each other, and 2 rolls of back fat just oozing out below my bra strap. I tried hard to push down that nagging thought. How could anyone love you when you look like that? And that's when it happened. I heard the screen door behind me slide open. And as I turned around, I was fully naked. And I saw Richard standing there in the hallway with his eyes wide and a horrified look on his face. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," he said, and he rushed out of the room. My whole face turned beet red. I didn't even know what to say. But the therapist came in to start the massage before I could think of what to do next. And the whole time, I couldn't relax at all. The scene just kept playing over and over in my head. What was Richard thinking? How much did he see? What did that horrified look mean? I was so embarrassed, but still, I wanted to talk to him. Yet as soon as the massage was over, I just heard him get up and he threw on his robe and he rushed out of the spa. That night, I texted him a few times with no response, and I started to grow worried. So after a couple of glasses of red wine, I decided I'm gonna go find him. This whole thing is silly, I thought to myself. We're both adults, right? I dolled myself up as much as I could, and I went down to the hotel bar where I knew Richard liked to drink, and I could hear his booming voice and laughter around the corner. And as I rounded the bend and entered the bar, I heard it. Yeah, I thought I could do the whole fat girl thing, but after seeing what I saw today, I just don't think anybody could love all that. How could you? And those men, they just started breaking out into vicious laughter, and I was crushed. I felt like someone had knocked the air out of my lungs, and it took every last bit of confidence I had with it. You already know what happened next. How I ran out of the hotel in tears, ultimately crashing onto the bench of the flower garden, where I burst into sobs. How could I have been so stupid? I thought to myself. I felt so defeated and embarrassed, more than ever before. And that's when I heard the footsteps approach me and stop in front of me. As I looked up, I saw a tall Japanese man dressed in a dark suit. He had a stern face, but kind eyes, and he smiled at me. In Japan, the white butterfly is a very good omen. He pointed to my shoulder where a white butterfly had made its perch. "You don't know me, but I know you, Kelsey, and I believe that things will get better for you now," he said. He handed me an ivory-colored business card with a few Japanese characters etched on the front. "Call on me when you need a favor," he said. I didn't even have time to ask how he knew my name. He turned back to the hotel where a black Bentley was waiting for him, got in and sped off. I was so dumbstruck by the whole thing. A million questions ran through my mind. As I went to bed that night, I had no idea that this unusual encounter would mark the beginning of my new life. When I woke up the next day, I was in a total fog. It felt like the previous day was some kind of dream. But when I glanced down at my dresser, I saw the business card sitting there. I just had to find out what it was all about. I went down to the front desk, handed the receptionist the card. "Can either of you tell me what this card says?" The receptionist looked at it and started whispering intently to the woman next to her. "Who gave you this?" she finally asked. "That man, I don't know his name, but the one in the Bentley. He knew my name somehow." "That's Mr. Ito," she said. "He's a member of one of Japan's wealthiest families and the owner of this hotel. He knows the name of everyone in this hotel. It looks like he gave you his address. It's a great honor." I didn't know what to make of this. It was like staying at the Hilton Hotel and meeting Conrad Hilton or something. Was it all because of that silly butterfly? By now, my curiosity was so strong that I went outside and took a taxi to the address listed on the card. I had to go see what this man was about. We drove for about an hour to the nearby city of Yokohama, and it was night by the time we got there. The driver dropped me off in front of one of the tallest buildings in the city. I walked in and said shyly, "I'm here to see Mr. Ito." The man took the business card I handed him and nodded. "Right this way, Miss Myers," he said, pointing to the elevator. As I stepped off the elevator, I entered one of the most luxurious penthouse suites I have ever seen. It overlooked the entire city. An older Japanese woman met me at the door, had me take my shoes off, and walked me into the living room. "Mr. Ito will be right with you," she said. A few minutes later, I heard a voice. "I can assume you're here for your favor." It was Mr. Ito, stirring a cocktail dressed in another dark suit. I didn't know what to say. I don't really know why I'm here. I was just confused by this whole thing, the card, the butterfly. Mr. Ito lifted his hand, Things happen for a reason, Kelsey. And when fortune grants you an opportunity, sometimes it's better to seize it than to question it. I don't have much time, but I did promise you a favor. So let me ask, what do you want more than anything in the world? I stammered. Let's start with what you were crying about last night, he said. I didn't want to talk about it, but he had this kind of commanding presence that makes you feel both intimidated and vulnerable all at once. So I let it all out. I told him everything about Richard and the spa, about all my failed diets and workout routines, and how frustrated I felt. Look at me, I said, grabbing the fat around my waist. I'm a freak. I don't feel good. My body constantly hurts. I'm hungry and tired all the time. I just can't stand it. I felt all that frustration. It was just welling up inside of me. And I just blurted it all out. What do you know? Everyone in this whole freaking country is pencil thin. I felt embarrassed by my outburst, but Mr. Ito just chuckled. You're not alone, Kelsey. I know you feel like you're the only one going through this, or like it's all your fault, but it's not. Believe me, there's something much deeper going on below the surface. I want to introduce you to someone, he said. His name is Shaiji, and he's one of the last in an age-old tradition of Japanese healers. He can help you if you want. I wasn't sure what he was talking about. What did he mean, healer? Did you mean like a monk? I asked. Mr. Ito nodded. Okay, well, where does this monk live? How do I find him? I asked. He's right there, Mr. Ito said, pointing to an adjacent room. Shaiji is my father. I couldn't help but laugh. I guess I didn't know monks lived in penthouses. Mr. Ito smiled. You expected to find him in some old monastery on top of a mountaintop? Well, he's here now, and I'd like you to meet him. You can go in now if you'd like. I got up and slowly walked into the room. Inside, Shaiji was sitting on the floor of an old Japanese-style room. He greeted me with a big smile and bowed when I entered the room. Then he poured 2 cups of tea and gestured for me to sit across from him. Hello, Kelsey, he said. My son has already told me about you, and I couldn't help but overhear everything you said just now in the other room. You're here to understand why nothing you've tried in the past has ever helped you, right? I nodded. Shaiji took a long sip of the thick, pungent tea in front of him. Well, are you willing to keep an open mind? I nodded. Good, he said. Because what I'm about to tell you is something you won't find anywhere else. It contains a fundamental truth about your weight that's been kept from you for thousands of years and strikes directly at the core of what keeps our bodies slim, youthful, and free of disease. It explains why rates of things like obesity, diabetes, and even heart disease have doubled in the past 40 years, and why you've been so frustrated in your weight loss journey. Despite what you may have heard, it has nothing to do with your metabolism, hormones, or willpower. Those things do play a role, of course, but there's actually something much deeper going on below the surface. So are you ready? I nodded my head. Good, he said, because if you want to melt the fat that's been haunting you, there's only one thing that you should be focusing on, making your fat eat itself. He pointed to a mural painted on the wall. It may not look like much, but that symbol represents the fundamental root of human health. It's responsible for keeping you slim, but also for the healthy functioning of every organ in your body. What's it stand for? I asked. Well, it represents the snake eating its own tail, and it's one of the oldest symbols in the world. You can find it in nearly every civilization, from Egypt to Greece to Europe to India, all the way here to Japan. And the reason why it's so important is because it symbolizes the most basic pattern of life: birth, death, rebirth. Believe it or not, this 4.5 billion-year-old process is happening right now inside every cell of your body. And keeping this process active inside is the #1 key to the body and the life that you desire. Because just like some plants wither and die each year, the cells inside your body constantly decay and stop working. But if you can keep this built-in resurrection system active, you can breathe new life into old cells and live a long, healthy life. I couldn't help but feel a little skeptical. Are you having trouble with this? He asked. No, I said. It's just that I'm looking for a real solution, and this all sounds a little too woohoo for me. Shaiji broke out into a smile. What do you mean by real? He asked simply. Something more scientific, maybe? I said. He nodded. Well, have you ever heard of the man, Dr. Yoshinori Osumi, before? I shook my head. Well, he's a Japanese scientist from just around the corner in Tokyo, and he was the first to discover how this resurrection system works within our cells. He was studying baker's yeast when he noticed something strange. All these cells began to age and build up junk inside. The cells would release a tiny structure that looks like a tiny Pac-Man within your cells. It also acted like Pac-Man, going around the cell and eating up any old trash. Then once it cleared everything out, it would seal itself shut and incinerate all the junk, turning it into tiny little building blocks that could be used later for repairs. So this process got rid of the junk and gave the cell new building blocks to repair itself and stay eternally youthful. Amazing, right? Because if your cells can keep repeating this resurrection cycle over and over, then it's possible that your cells could technically live forever, right? I nodded. I guess it all made sense. Well, this breakthrough discovery earned Dr. Osumi the Nobel Prize in Medicine and Physiology in 2016. And Dr. Osumi called this resurrection system autophagy, where auto stands for the self, and phagy is the Greek word for eating. So basically, the word describes how cells cannibalize their own damaged parts. Yet as scary as that sounds, Dr. Osumi showed that it's actually a good thing, because it helps clear junk DNA, damaged tissues, and other garbage from our cells. And if all this sounds a little complicated, don't worry. Just remember that your cells have a built-in resurrection system that cleans out junk to help keep them healthy as you get older. But here's the bad news, Shaiji said. As we get older, this resurrection system starts to break down too. As you can expect, this causes a whole lot of junk to build up inside our cells. Eventually, they can no longer repair themselves and start to break down, which spells disaster for your fat cells. Because once our fat cells break down, they're practically forced to hold on to fat, which is why study after study after study has shown a connection between the breakdown of this resurrection system and obesity. And since I know you love science so much, take a look at some of these studies. He pulled out a folder from a drawer beside him, opened it, and set down the stack of papers inside. The top paper was a study published in the Nature Reviews of Endocrinology. Shaiji pointed to a highlighted section which read, "Indeed, defects in autophagy, homeostasis, are implicated in metabolic disorders, including obesity, insulin resistance, diabetes mellitus, and atherosclerosis." In other words, Shaiji continued, when this resurrection system breaks down, we can end up with metabolic disorders that not only affect our weight, but also lead to things like heart problems, erratic blood sugar, sluggish metabolism, and more. Unfortunately for most of us, that's just the beginning of what happens when our body's resurrection system breaks down. Because this system affects virtually every function in the body, from rapid aging, to erratic blood sugar, to dangerous plaque, to fatty liver, to brain fog, and so much more. There's not a single organ in the body that isn't affected when this resurrection system breaks down, which is why Eileen Roy, a board-certified neurologist, says that this resurrection system, or autophagy, is overwhelmed or dysfunctional when cells are unable to perform optimally and disease can occur, as well as more rapid aging. And why Dr. Vincent Pedre from Mount Sinai School of Medicine says that when it comes to weight loss, triggering this resurrection system is a tactic that almost always works when everything else has failed. So starting this process is absolutely essential. At this point, my head was spinning from everything that Shaiji had just told me. Let me get this straight, I said. You're saying that inside every single one of my cells is a resurrection system called autophagy, or whatever you call it? And basically this process eats up all the junk in your cells, which keeps them healthy and functioning like they should? He nodded. But then you're saying that this process slows down to a crawl as we get older, which not only leads to all this fat in our bodies, but also affects pretty much every other health ailment we have. Exactly, Shaiji said. And it's getting even worse now because of things like pollution, plastics in our water supply, the stress of modern day life, and more. So is there any way we can reactivate this resurrection system in the body, I asked? Well, Shaiji said, as usual, the billionaire elite of Silicon Valley are already one step ahead of you. Except this time, they're missing one crucial piece. See, they've thrown themselves full force into an experimental drug called rapamycin. It's taken from a pathogen found only on the remote Easter Island, and several studies have shown that it can activate the resurrection system in the body. The only problem? Horrible side effects like gastric bleeding, mouth ulcers, and decreased immunity have all been associated with the drug. But that still hasn't stopped investors from pouring millions of dollars into this drug because of the promise of a real-life elixir of life. It's just too great. Then there's fasting. I'm sure you've heard all the rage about fasting as a way to lose weight and extend your lifespan. It seems like everyone is talking about intermittent fasting, dry fasting, water fasting, and more. And while fasting is good for you and does activate your resurrection system, in order to get the best results, you have to literally starve yourself, which obviously isn't fun for anybody. Luckily, there's an alternative, something that's been quietly overlooked by just about everybody, that helps activate your body's resurrection system and keep your cells healthy, young, and functioning correctly, allowing all your locked up fat to come pouring out of your cells. Well, what is it? I nearly blurted out. Shaiji tipped his cup of tea towards me. You're drinking it. I stared down at the thick, bubbling liquid in the cup, This tea? I asked. He nodded, although it's not really a tea at all. I call it an elixir, and it's that small cup of powder sitting right there. Try it. I put a little bit of powder on my pinky finger and placed it on my tongue. It was bitter and pungent. What is it? I asked. Shadi laughed. If I told you that, I'd have to kill you. He smiled, but I had no idea what he meant. Kelsey, this elixir has been passed down in my family for thousands of years, and it's considered a family secret. Have you ever heard of Emperor Qin Shi Huang? I shook my head. Well, legend has it that over 2,200 years ago, he sent servants out to find the immortality elixir, but only one of these servants found it. And as the story goes, this servant landed in Japan where he ultimately did stumble across the immortality elixir. But instead of going back to China, he decided to settle in Japan right here at the base of Mount Fuji. Ever since then, he's kept this elixir within his family lineage. I'm a descendant of that same family. Whether the legend is true or not, I don't know. But I do know that both my father and my grandfather lived well into their hundreds with virtually no serious health problems before their death. And they always said it was because of this elixir here. But like I said, I'm forbidden to share this elixir with any outsider. But here's what I can do. He handed me a small scroll tied with a red ribbon. Inside, you'll find 10 of the 11 ingredients inside of this elixir. I know it's not everything, but it's the best I can do. And it's more than anyone outside my family has ever received. While it won't be nearly as effective without this missing ingredient, I trust that if it's meant to be, you'll find it out on your own. Go ahead, take a sip from that cup. Remember how it tastes. Remember its fragrance. That's how you'll know when you find it. I took the scroll in my hand. He looked ready to leave, but I still had one last question for him. Why are you telling me all this? Shadi looked at me intently. Kelsey, over the last few years, I've grown frustrated with my family's restrictions. When I look all around me, all I see is sickness and disease. I'd like nothing more than to share what I know with others, to be a true people's champion. But unfortunately, my hands are tied. So I've been plotting a way to get around this restriction. And when my son told me about you, I thought it might be the chance I've been looking for. In other words, the rest is up to you, Kelsey. And I pray you figure it out for you and the rest of the world. If it works out, you can thank that white butterfly of yours. With that, Shaidu smiled, took a bow, and left the room. That night, I could hardly sleep. I kept tossing and turning in my sheets. The whole day seemed so strange and unbelievable. A resurrection switch, an immortality elixir, some secret family with weird rules. It all seemed so wildly unbelievable. Yet at the same time, it felt so compelling. Still, I needed answers for myself. Luckily, I knew exactly who to ask. That night, I opened my laptop and sent an email to Andrew, a bright coworker back at the research lab in Tulsa where I worked. He and I were as close as brother and sister, and I knew he would help me. I sent him a picture of the scroll and the ingredients inside. Hey, Andrew, I know this is weird, but what can you tell me about these ingredients? Especially related to something called autophagy. Really would love your help on this one. About 45 minutes later, he replied, Had no idea you were so interested in biology, Kels, especially at 3 a.m. on vacation in Japan, LOL. But I did a little digging and found some cool stuff. I mean, pretty much everything you sent me has some stuff around autophagy. I attached what I found below. I don't know what you're trying to do, but if you're trying to make some recipe or something, I've got a colleague out there in Japan who could probably help you. Attached to the email was about 35 different studies and the contact for his colleague. I got goosebumps. Could this Shaiji guy be telling the truth? There was only one way to find out for sure. I reached out to the colleague Andrew had mentioned to see if he could put these ingredients together. He responded and said it would probably take a couple of days. In the meantime, I set out to see if I could find the missing ingredient. I started going down different rabbit holes, just searching for something that might be the missing ingredient, anything related to autophagy. I made a list of about 12 different possibilities and sent them over so we could try each one of them. Finally, Andrew's colleague had finished all of the different forms of the elixir. He had them all separated into different vials, and I went through each one by one. It was clear that none of them matched what I had at Shaiji's house. They didn't taste right, they didn't smell right, and if what Shaiji said was true, I knew they wouldn't work. Who was I kidding? I wasn't cut out for this science stuff. And what did I expect? That I was going to crack the code on some ancient Japanese elixir that had evaded discovery for thousands of years? Me, Kelsey from Tulsa? I felt silly. Here I was on one of the most beautiful places on earth, wasting all this time, staring at a computer screen trying to play science. I was over it. With only 2 days left in Japan, I decided to just relax and enjoy most of it. The next day, I went on a tour of the nearby tea fields just outside the city. I had been dying to take this tour since I got to Japan. And truthfully, it was one of the most beautiful experiences of my entire life. The birds were chirping, the sun was shining, the sky was crystal blue. And for a while, it felt like all my worries faded away. I didn't feel stressed about anything. I didn't worry about Richard or my body. I felt carefree. If only I could feel this way forever, I thought to myself. Then it happened. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a white butterfly fluttering. It flew around my head a few times. It even landed on my shoulder. And I know this sounds crazy, but it was almost like it was trying to get my attention. Even the people on my tour started noticing it and tried to snap a picture of it. Then it kind of flew off down the forest path. I hesitated for a moment. I felt like something was calling me to go after it, but I didn't want to look weird. Finally, I leapt from my seat and I went racing after it. I kept running and running through the forest, and the guide kept yelling at me to come back. I had never done anything like that before, but truthfully, I didn't care. I kept running until I cleared the forest. There was a little red pagoda perched next to a river and a single tree in the center of the field. The butterfly landed on its trunk. I was so tired that I collapsed on the grass with the tree in the distance, trying to catch my breath. The guide came running up behind me. "What's the matter?" he asked. "You just can't leave like that." I was still out of breath, so I just pointed to the tree. "What's that tree?" I asked. The guide looked at me for a moment. Then he said, "Well, that's the Japanese silk maple. It's what farmers use to feed silkworms to make silk. It's a very special tree. Some people even call it the tree of life." At that moment, it all clicked together. Somehow I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that this was the missing ingredient. The butterfly started flapping around the tree. "And that white butterfly?" I asked. "What does it mean?" The guide thought for a moment. "Well, in Japanese culture, it's said that when someone you love dies, they come back in this form to guide you when you need it most. Is someone watching over you?" And I felt this shiver just run down my spine. And I couldn't help but think about my husband. And I felt the warm sun on my back as the butterfly flew around us once, and then it just took off into the forest. And I smiled. "I'm ready to go back," I said. When I returned to the States, I had Andrew add the final ingredient to the elixir. Of course, I wasn't sure if that was the missing ingredient, but deep inside, I felt it was right. It took Andrew a few days to put it all together. And when he brought me the finished product, I could tell that we were on the right track. It wasn't perfect, but it had the same distinctive fragrance and taste I remembered from Shaiji's place. It's close, Andrew, but we still have to keep working at it. After about 19 more failed attempts, we finally got it right. When I looked at the powder, it had almost a subtle glow. And when I poured it into a cup of hot water and took a sip, I instantly knew it was right. I could still hear Shaiji's voice resounding in my ears. "Remember the smell. Remember the taste. Remember how it makes you feel." This is exactly what we've been searching for, Andrew. The only thing left was to put it to the test. I took a few pinches of the powder with some water and went to bed. The next morning, I woke up feeling more rested than usual. It was that kind of natural energy you feel after a deep night of sleep. And as I walked into the bathroom, I decided to weigh myself. I had lost a pound. I was happy, of course, but I knew my weight could fluctuate a lot. So I still wasn't ready to get my hopes up yet. But over the next few days, I kept noticing improvements in my energy, mood, and focus. And when I weighed myself at the end of the week, the scale read 204. I was several pounds lighter in the first week alone. I was ecstatic. Little did I know, it was just the beginning. And as the days went by, the results kept getting more and more dramatic. My belly got flatter, my energy levels skyrocketed, and all of my late night cravings disappeared. By the end of the first 6 weeks, I had lost even more weight. At the same time, it felt like all my other aches and pains had vanished too. My gut finally felt regular. I wasn't as tired as I used to be. My body no longer ached, and my hair, skin, and nails started to take on a new glow. Soon, I had to take all my old clothes to a local thrift shop and buy new ones. People around me at the office kept asking me what had happened. And I even heard rumors spreading at the office that I had gone to Japan to get gastric bypass surgery or something. I was so happy I couldn't even be offended. My world felt brighter, almost like I was seeing it in full color for the first time. I felt more upbeat. And as everything around me started to change, more and more people started to ask me what my secret was. At first, I was afraid to tell them the truth because my story sounded so crazy, but I could see the desperation in their eyes, and I could still remember the pain of my own experience. So I started to share what I knew with a few close friends: Cheryl from the office, Ryan, who worked in Andrew's lab, Ms. Hammond from next door. As crazy as it sounds, in every single case, these people experienced dramatic weight loss, improved energy levels, and remarkable health results in just weeks. Soon, my inbox was flooded with their transformation stories. Like Ryan, that friend of Andrew's, who told me,
I'm a believer. My whole life I've been the fat guy, which is a huge pain when you work in a cramped research lab. I've lost over 30 pounds and still have plenty to go. Thank you, Kelsey.
or Miss Hammond, who told me,
Kelsey, bless your heart. I don't know what you put into this formula, but let me tell you, I have never experienced results like this from anything I've tried before. I've lost weight, I don't feel bloated, I don't feel as tired. I'm singing around the house like I'm a young lady again. It is truly amazing. You are amazing. God bless you, honey.
or Mary Hayes, who told me,
This formula truly is a miracle. Losing weight with it was effortless. I didn't even have to give up my favorite foods, and my health has greatly improved as well. Thank you so much, and God bless.
and those are just a few of the emails we get each and every day. Soon, Andrew and I had more requests than we could keep up with. Our ingredients were running out fast, and it wasn't easy or cheap to get our hands on them. One day, I just told him point blank, Andrew, we have to figure out another way. At this rate, we're going to go bankrupt trying to fund this, not to mention losing all our hair. So we put our heads together to figure out an even better way to get this formula into the hands of as many people as possible. We partnered with a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility, built relationships with all the suppliers, and even put the elixir into easy-to-swallow capsules. It took a lot of trial and error. Frankly, we were both a little naive about how much work it would take, but we stuck with it until we were able to help hundreds regain the physique and the body of their dreams. Yet even as we became well known in our small community, I wanted to share our formula with even more people. That's when I received a letter in the mail. It was unmarked, except for a few Japanese characters on the front. I cautiously opened it. Inside was a note. Thank you for sharing my family's legacy with the world. Don't stop, no matter how hard things get. It was meant to be. It was signed, Shaiji. Inside was an inked drawing of a butterfly, and it was at that moment that I knew that we were on the right track. It's why I'm proud to be the first to introduce to you Metamorphx. This truly is the world's most powerful weight loss solution, not only because it turns on your body's resurrection switch to allow fat to pour out of your cells, but because it curbs cravings, increases your energy levels, and boosts your metabolism. In other words, it makes losing weight simple, quick, and automatic. But Metamorphx goes so much deeper than that because it also targets nearly every single cell in your body, activating your body's natural healing system to give total health to every area of your body. This is something that no other solution can do, which is why the transformation stories we hear from people like you are truly unlike anything I've ever heard before. I'll share those with you in just a moment. But first, let me tell you exactly what's inside Metamorphx and all the clinical evidence behind each ingredient, because I want you to feel total peace knowing what's inside each serving of this life-changing formula. First, there's the Japanese silk maple extract I mentioned. This is the missing ingredient I found that day in the Japanese tea fields. The leaves of this tree have been used for 4,700 years as an ancient medicine, leading some cultures to describe it as the herb of immortality, or the tree of life. The ancient Greeks even described it as the tree with life-reviving potential, which isn't surprising because it's one of the most potent superfoods jam-packed with powerful alkaloids, flavonoids, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, new research shows it can reactivate your cellular resurrection system, and that it works by focusing on the toxic protein that slows this process down. Not surprisingly, this effect has been shown to lead to significant weight loss across multiple studies, as well as help to support healthy blood sugar levels by blocking carb absorption in the blood, support liver health with powerful antioxidants, support healthy heart function by increasing good cholesterol and lowering bad cholesterol, and so much more. Plus, when you combine it with the next ingredient I'll tell you about, you can achieve an even stronger effect. The second ingredient in this blend is called Wan Qi. This herb has been used for thousands of years in ancient Chinese medicine. It contains potent concentrations of both flavonoids and polysaccharides. And now study after study after study have proven it can rejuvenate cells through the activation of your resurrection system, which, just like with the Japanese silk maple, leads to a powerful weight loss effect. One study showed how it caused lipid breakdown, or fat death within cells. And another showed that it reduced the metabolic stress that leads to weight gain over the course of weeks. On top of all these benefits, Wan Qi has been shown to boost immune health, help stabilize blood sugar levels, support healthy heart function, increase energy levels, and more. At first, it seems surprising that both Japanese silk maple and Wan Qi give such powerful benefits to nearly every system in your body. But once you remember that they work by reactivating every single one of your cells' built-in resurrection system, suddenly it all makes sense. Because if you can clear out the junk gathering in your cells, giving them a healthier, more youthful profile,
It just makes sense that you'd get these body-wide health benefits, but that's just 2 out of the 11 scientifically backed natural compounds found inside of Metamorphx. So let me quickly tell you what else you can find inside. First, there are 3 potent superfoods that are from the super berry matrix. This includes magnolia vine berry extract. This super nutrient is grown in the forest of Korea, where it's been harvested as a medicine for generations. It's believed to support high levels of qi or energy levels, and it's been shown to increase the activity of your body's cellular resurrection system, stop the formation of new fat cells, foster the healthy slimming bacteria in your gut. Then there's the Siberian ginseng extract. This compound is considered to be an adaptogen, which means it helps your body manage stress better. On top of this, one Japanese study showed it also activates the resurrection system in your body, while also helping to boost metabolism. It also contains powerful antioxidants, which can support healthy blood sugar and help regulate your mood. Finally, there's lycium berry extract. This Chinese superfood has been shown to activate your resurrection system. It also helps repair and clear out cellular junk that leads to the accumulation of stubborn fat. Multiple studies have shown that it can help reduce fat tissue in the body, slim your waistline, and even lower levels of the craving hormone, ghrelin. One study in particular showed that it led to a depletion of the fat deposits of postmenopausal women as much as 17.76%. Then there's the 3 roots found inside the Trinity root complex. First, there's licorice root extract. This sweet root was used by the pharaohs in Egypt to help reduce inflammation, fix gut problems, and more. It's been shown to activate the resurrection system in the body, while also supporting weight loss. One double-blind study of 72 subjects forced researchers to conclude that licorice root extract had a significant effect on body weight, while another showed that it suppressed abdominal fat tissue in just 4 weeks. And yet another study showed it to significantly reduce body fat mass in just 8 weeks for over 15 subjects. Next, there's Solomon seal's root extract. This flower is known as the Asian lily, and its root has been used in ancient Chinese medicine to support greater qi levels and more mental focus. The powerful polysaccharides found within have shown to significantly increase the activation of your resurrection system. And women in Italy used to use the extract on their faces because of its potent anti-aging effect. Finally, there's the 4-leaf yam root extract. This root has been used by herbalists since the 1700s to help fix gut problems, manage pain levels, and support healthy lungs. Of course, it's also been shown to activate your body's resurrection system. One study even used a high-powered microscope to see firsthand how this cell cleanup process worked when cells were exposed to the root. This root also helps support healthy blood sugar, healthy cholesterol levels, and reduces inflammation that can lead to joint swelling and stiffness. Finally, let me tell you all about the 3-flower matrix. First, there's St. Mary's thistle. This flower contains silymarin, which is a powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory within the body. It's been shown to help boost the resurrection system, as well as lead to significant weight loss across multiple studies, all while helping to boost the brain function that declines with age. Then there's shepherd's purse stem. This flower has been used since Neolithic times, where it was found buried inside old grave sites. It's continued to be used across cultures for thousands of years and is well known for its powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Finally, there's balloon flower extract. This well-known Japanese flower helps boost your body's resurrection system and even helps regulate your body's amount of good, slimming gut bacteria. Now you can see why Metamorphx is truly in a class of its own. No formula has such a unique or potent blend. And no formula has been so carefully crafted to help boost your body's resurrection system across every single cell in the entire body. Remember that the power of this formula doesn't just lie in the ingredients themselves, but also in their unique blend, in which each ingredient is perfectly balanced to help the others work more effectively. That's why even though you could pick up each of the ingredients separately, you'd be hard-pressed to figure out the golden ratio that makes them work as effectively as they do inside our proprietary blend. Not to mention, it would be wildly expensive. It's also important to remember one more thing. Unless you use ingredients from high-quality sources, you might as well throw them in the trash. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. You'd be amazed to discover just how shady the supplement industry can be. Unscrupulous sharks try to cut corners on everything, including using cheap knockoff ingredients from industrial factories in China. Why does this matter? Well, these ingredients are grown in polluted soil, pumped full of pesticides and chemicals, and so processed that by the time they get to you, they've been virtually drained of all the life-giving nutrients they promise you. Which is why we do things differently. Our only concern is helping you achieve dramatic results and feel great about how you look. So we never cut corners on our ingredients. Each serving of Metamorphx is packaged into 100% vegan capsules, so you're getting a pure, potent dose of the formula. And everything is processed in our state-of-the-art GMP certified facility. It's only a matter of time before this elixir becomes a household name, because the science is quickly catching up, and the results people are achieving is simply too good to ignore. Have you ever seen such incredible results from folks? Every day, thousands of men and women are transforming their weight and health with Metamorphx. And when you feel good, everything changes for you. You have more energy, you smile more, you strut around with a newfound confidence. Every single aspect of your life begins to improve. Plus, once you factor in how this formula supports every function in your body, from your heart to your gut to your lungs to your brain, literally working to almost rewind aging, it's easy to see why so many people claim their lives have changed forever. Taking Metamorphx couldn't be easier. All it takes is 2 capsules each morning. These capsules are small and easy to swallow, and you can take them as soon as you wake up or alongside breakfast. Then all you have to do is let our proprietary blend do the rest of the work for you. That's it. So forget about everything you've been told about how hard it is to lose weight, because right now, you're just moments away from getting your hands on the world's easiest, most effective weight loss solution. Here's how you can get your hands on Metamorphx today at no risk to you. First, let me emphasize this point one more time. Metamorphx truly is a best-in-class formula. There's no other word for it, especially considering that we source high-quality and expensive ingredients that have to be shipped to and manufactured in our state-of-the-art GMP facility, which means that if Metamorphx were sold in stores, you'd have to pay no less than $127 per bottle, which I know might sound crazy. It certainly sounded crazy to me when I first heard it, but that's just the consequence of what happens when you put something like Metamorphx in a store. They mark it up some ridiculous amount. They want you to pay their shipping, marketing, building, rent, and more. And they stuff their greedy little pockets with $100 bills. But we're not in this for the money. We just want to get this formula into the hands of as many people as possible. So we figured out a way for you to get Metamorphx at half of what those retail scumbags would try to sell it to you for. Instead of selling it on store shelves, I decided to simply sit down and tell you my story, tell you everything that happened to me, share all the research I've put together, and let you hear all the remarkable transformation stories of people who've used Metamorphx for themselves. Then it's up to you to decide if Metamorphx is right for you. That's why if you order your first supply of Metamorphx today, you won't have to pay full price or even half of that. But that's not all, because I also figured out a way to get you even more savings. You see, even though you'll likely feel the effects of Metamorphx from your very first use, the reality is the longer you use Metamorphx, the better your experience will be. Which just makes sense, right? I mean, a lot of the studies I shared with you lasted as much as 16 weeks or more. Most of the people I've shared this formula with saw the most dramatic results after just a few months of use. And because Metamorphx targets the resurrection system built inside each cell of your body, your results become exponential the longer you use it, because every system in your body starts firing on all cylinders. This is why so many people take Metamorphx daily, almost like a multivitamin. And I personally can't see any reason why you wouldn't want to do that. I certainly do, because it turns your body into a mighty fortress against the ravages of life that surround us. That's why so many people stock up on Metamorphx. They don't want to ever be caught without it. And since we cover your shipping costs anyway, it's actually cheaper for us to ship you more bottles at once, meaning that you get to cash in on those savings. That's why we decided to make Metamorphx available in both a 6-month and a 3-month supply. This way you get the full benefit of this formula, while at the same time saving even more than you already are. This is what brings down the price of a single bottle of Metamorphx from $127 down below $100 and even below $80 or $70, so that when you order right now on this page only, you can get a single bottle of Metamorphx for just $49 when you order our popular 6-month package. Just $49. And once you experience Metamorphx for yourself, I'm confident that you'll agree that almost nothing else compares to how good you'll feel when you look in the mirror and you see a slimmer you. When you order a 6-month supply directly on this page, you're getting an incredible savings. Plus, you'll also get free shipping today when you order the 3 or 6 bottle package, which is a $19.99 value right there, along with a free digital copy of my best-selling book, The Japanese Weight Loss Secret, which has helped countless people get their dream body the natural way. And your order today also gives you access to over $297 worth of exercise videos, guides, and resources in my private VIP client area. But both the free shipping and these bonuses are only available to you here today on this website. Pretty amazing, right? Of course, you can also go ahead and order the 3-month supply for a smaller discount of just $59 per bottle. And you can order the 1-month supply for just $69. Whatever choice you make is completely up to you. You get a great deal either way. But since we're able to offer the 6-month supply at such a steep discount, most people usually end up just ordering that option. So choose your package from below this video now to lock in your discount of the 6-month supply or whichever amount makes the most sense to you. When you do, you'll be taken to our secure order page where you can fill out your shipping and payment information. Once you hit enter, you'll land on our confirmation page, which will carefully explain exactly what you can expect with your order, including when you'll receive your package and how to track it. Most people should get their order within 5 to 7 business days. You'll also get an email which includes the same information, including the contact of our friendly US-based support team, which can help you with any questions you might have along the way. I really understand the value of your privacy, which is why our secure order form uses the same professional-grade 256-bit encryption technology as places like Amazon, eBay, and Walmart. So you can place your order today with total confidence. Now, you might be wondering if there's a guarantee, and there absolutely is. And here's how it works. Because Andrew and I really only care about helping you with your health, something we're so confident that Metamorphx will do for you, we only want you to pay if you feel it worked as well as I say it will. So as soon as your first order of Metamorphx arrives on your doorstep, here's what I want you to do. Tear right into the package, try it out for yourself. Just take the 2 easy-to-swallow capsules each morning as directed for as long as 6 months. Watch your physique transform before your eyes and feel your body burst with fresh energy and new vitality. You have a full 60 days to test drive Metamorphx for yourself. This way, if you're as happy with your order as I expect you will be, then I couldn't be more thrilled. But if for any reason or no reason at all, you're not 100% satisfied with your order, all you have to do is send an email to our support team at support@getmetamorphx.com. Just let them know that, hey, Metamorphx just wasn't right for me, and we'll make sure you get every dime of your investment back. We won't ask you any questions. No one's gonna sit there and quiz you to find out if you really tried it or not. Just let us know that Metamorphx wasn't right for you, and we will issue you an immediate, hassle-free refund. To put it bluntly, if Metamorphx doesn't work for you, you pay nothing. Our support email and phone number will be provided on your checkout page, confirmation email, and inside every supply you receive, so you'll never have any trouble finding it. We want to help as many people experience the full realization of their health. So either we help you do that, or you don't pay a dime. What could be more fair than that? We know this radical guarantee makes us vulnerable. Some people might try to use it to rip us off, but frankly, we're not worried about that. We're way more concerned about the man or woman who's listening to this right now and thinking to themselves, gosh, this makes a lot of sense. I want to try it, but what if it doesn't work for me? Well, now you don't have to worry about any of that because I've just removed all the risk off your shoulders and placed it squarely on my own. Doesn't that feel good? Now, you don't have to believe my story. You don't have to take other people's word for it. And you don't even have to believe all the clinical studies I've shared with you. All you have to do is try Metamorphx for yourself. See how it works, and then make your decision. The only reason we're able to make this bold of a guarantee is because so many people who try Metamorphx become raving fans. So I'm confident you'll love it as much as the next person. But either way, you're 100% protected by our 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee. So now there's no reason for you not to place your order today. This powerful guarantee actually gives you another reason to take advantage of our buy more, save more discount. Really, it's the smartest option. I mean, if you're protected either way, why wouldn't you just give yourself the best shot of experiencing the full benefit of Metamorphx by ordering more, knowing that you risk nothing either way? Either way, you win. If you love Metamorphx, then you're locked into our lowest rate of just $49 per bottle, saving more than everyone else. And if Metamorphx doesn't work for you, then you can still get all your money back and still keep the bottles. No matter what happens, you have everything to gain and nothing to lose. So choose your package from below this video to order your 3 or 6 month supply, knowing that you're 100% safe and protected either way. There's one last thing that I want to tell you. Because so many people end up choosing the 6-month option, and because they usually come back for more after that, occasionally we do run out of stock. Obviously, we do our best to avoid this, but when you have so many people placing big orders, it puts a big strain on supply capacity. Don't worry though, because as long as you're on this page now and don't see any sort of out of stock icon anywhere popping up, then we still have a few bottles of Metamorphx left in stock. But if we do run out, and it could be in minutes or days, I can't say for sure when we'll be able to restock. So if you want to place your order today, then it's important that you do so now before our supplies run out. And because I don't ever want you to be in that unfortunate situation where you fall in love with Metamorphx only to come back to this page a month later to find out that it's completely sold out, I have to recommend again that you choose our popular 6-month option. This way you have plenty of time to test drive Metamorphx before running out. So choose your option from below this video to order your 6-month supply or whichever makes the most sense to you. Now we're at that point where it's time to make a decision. You've already seen all the science behind this breakthrough solution. You've heard my story. You've heard stories from everyday people just like you who've already transformed their lives in less than a minute a day. I fully stand behind this product. I've done everything I can to make ordering today one of the easiest, most logical decisions you've ever made. You don't have to pay shipping. You get to take advantage of a generous buy more, save more discount. And no matter what size you order, you're 100% protected by our 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee. The only reason I'm making this video is because I believe Metamorphx can truly support your weight loss and your health. I've seen it firsthand in my own life, but ultimately it's up to you to make the decision. You're the only one who can take that first step in the direction of a radically new life. And while I'd never ask you to do something you don't want to do, I can't help but notice that if you've watched this far, then it's likely because something I've said has sparked some kind of curiosity or interest inside of you. But if for any reason you still feel a little on the fence, then I have to ask you, please don't let fear or doubt hold you back, because you're 100% safe and protected. I truly hope that if I'm speaking to you, that you can say to yourself, you know what, Kelsey, you're right. I've got nothing to lose. I've got everything to gain. I'm ready to give it a shot. Because that's the truth of the reality of this decision that faces you now. And when you really think about it, what's the alternative? I can only imagine all the failed solutions you've tried in the past that have left you feeling frustrated, anxious, and depressed. And now you have something completely different right in front of you. You could leave this page right now after hearing everything I've said, but what will change? If we're being completely honest, probably nothing. I can't say for sure what you've tried in the past, but if you're here now, then it's because nothing else has really worked for you. So if you leave this page now without at least trying something new, doesn't it seem likely that you'll just end up back on that hamster wheel of failures and disappointments? Feeling frustrated by how you look and feel? Feeling stressed out about difficult diets and exercise routines? Feeling worried about your future or the example you're setting to others? And hating every moment that people judge you based on your body and not on you? Won't you think back to this moment and feel regret knowing how close you were to a real solution? Especially if you come back and find everything sold out? Friend, you and I both know that's not what you want, which is why I'm now reaching out my hand to offer you a way out. You don't have to say yes. All you have to do is say maybe. Maybe this will work, Kelsey. Maybe this will be everything you say it is. And since I've got nothing to lose, let me give it a try. You're just moments away from a brand new life. Moments from bouncing out of bed each morning with so much pure energy that you feel refreshed and reborn. You might even forget about your morning coffee. You'll be smiling and cracking jokes with your spouse, kids, and coworkers. Maybe you'll even catch a glimpse of yourself in a passing reflection and feel a surge of excitement as you see your flat stomach and your fit physique. All of that and more could be just on the other side of this page. And while whatever you decide is completely up to you, I do truly hope I get to see you there. All you have to do to get started is choose your option from below this video. And I'll see you on the other side to help you continue your journey. Regardless of your choice, I want to personally thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I wish you all the best in everything you do. I'm Kelsey Myers. Frequently asked questions. How does Metamorphx work again? Metamorphx works by activating autophagy within your cells. This process is also known as your resurrection system because it clears out junk that builds up as you age. The junk is the #1 reason why it's so hard to lose weight, since it forces your cells to hold on to fat. Once you activate your resurrection system, losing weight becomes easier, your energy levels soar, and your cravings are reduced. How do I use Metamorphx? Taking Metamorphx couldn't be easier. Just take 2 capsules every morning with your breakfast or as part of your morning routine to experience the best results. Are there any side effects? Very few of our customers report any noticeable side effects to Metamorphx, but since everybody's different, it's important to consult with your doctor or pharmacist before taking any kind of supplement. Will Metamorphx work for me? With all the overwhelming evidence supporting the ingredients found inside of Metamorphx, as well as the countless transformation stories we hear from customers like you, we feel confident that Metamorphx will work for you. But if for any reason it doesn't, remember that you're 100% protected by our 60-day money-back guarantee. Simply call or send an email to support@getmetamorphx.com and you'll receive every dime of your investment back. This information will be provided to you on your confirmation page via email and inside every order of Metamorphx. How do I get started? It couldn't be simpler. Just click the button below now, select the 6-month bottle discount or any other package you choose, and you'll have your order in just a few days. Thanks for watching. I'm Kelsey Myers.